This is Cold Brew Series 2, Episode 6. It was aired on the 27th of February 2020. Here's the show. It's 8 o'clock on Thursday. I wasn't ready to start yet. This is Cold Brew Series 2, Episode 6. I've only just sat down. I'm going to play the first song right now. Let's get this started. This is Cold Brew on Insanity Radio 103.2 FM. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in again. James Newman is going to represent the UK at Eurovision this year. Sorry if I spoiled it for you, but that was the announcement made earlier today, this morning. Check that out somewhere online. It's on YouTube, I think, as well. It's going to be called My Last Breath, or something like that. Something Last Breath. Anyway, I've listened to it so many times, I've forgotten what it's called, because you know how you do that with songs when they come out. Listen to it so many times, you forget what it's called. So, yeah, it's been a fun week. I've been doing a lot of work, as I said last week, doing that study momentum, getting it done, really out here. I've renamed my playlist. Well, no, I didn't rename the playlist. I gave my playlist a new cover. My study playlist, it's called Study My Way Back to You. I'll discuss that later in the show, I think, actually. Before I start, I just really want to thank my housemate's mum for giving me some the mint Lindor, because I was saying how I want to try it, and really you need to try it. And I'm not even being paid by Lindt to say this. Everyone should be trying that mint Lindor. The box is now still on my shelf because it's actually, that's my favorite color as well. Teal, turquoise, sort of that region, my favorite color. Actually, the lights in here have just turned to that as well. So thank you so much. That it's really sweet. Anyway, let's get on with the show this week. So the weather was not nice again this week. It rained a lot, actually. And now they've got this storm coming on the weekend. I was trying to find news of it. It's going to be called Storm Jorge, named by the Spanish Meteorological Service, because they, I don't know, when I first read it, it seemed like it was sort of like a discovery thing. You discover it first, you get. But it's because it's going to have the most impact there. They named it first, so keep it all the same. Storm Jorge coming on the weekend. I'm not looking forward to that at all. I mean, how dare another storm come here? And I'm talking about Egham, because it rains here so much. The weather is constantly miserable, and my umbrella was destroyed by the last storm. So, I went out with it today, and a little breeze just caught my umbrella as a breeze came in, and I was like, no, you know what, I'm gonna have to put this down because it's not in a position to take any wind right now. The arms are completely 90-degree angle, so it looks like one of them. And actually, they're sometimes the best type of umbrella. They look really strong, the really arched ones. You can get right up in them, and they're not going to break. My umbrella looks like that because it's broken. So, the slightest wind this morning, I was like, you know what? I can't be dealing with this. This is not... My umbrella can't be dealing with this. So, I'm either going to have to get a new one or just stay in this weekend. But actually, the amount of work I have to do, staying in might be... Storm Jorge might be what I've been asking for to actually make me get this work done. But this week, the weather did something else to me, and it wasn't actually the weather that did this. So, you know what? I'm going to tell you about that. I'll tell you. Walk into Tesco's, and this car, there's a massive puddle next to the road. I didn't think of anything of it because it's raining a lot. Massive puddle next to the road, and this car just accelerates and goes straight through it. And this was not even a busy road. This was a quiet residential road. And it shocked me that someone would do that on purpose, like intentionally try and get the puddle on me. And actually, the puddle smelled. So I was going around Tesco's with this stinky puddle water on my leg. Not fun. So yeah, there I was in the street with this car coming towards me, accelerating intentionally into this puddle. And I don't know if you live locally, you might know Stoneylands, I think it's called, Stoneylands Road or something. A very, very small road where you do not want like a deep puddle, and I could see it had sort of oil on top of it. It was a nasty puddle, and I was standing right next to it, and yeah, I see this car in front of me. Okay, sure. Coming down the road towards me. Okay, sure. The thing was towards me as well, so you could tell. Of course they could see me, and they just put their foot down and go through this puddle, and I was soaked, and I was just lost for words. I almost asked them for a lift to Tesco, to be honest. I wanted to sit in their car with the water that they just splashed all over me. But I didn't do that. I just walked to Tesco's down the high street with people staring at me, because it wasn't even raining that heavily at this point. Did I have my umbrella out? I didn't take my umbrella with me. It was broken, of course, but it wasn't that windy that day, so I might have taken it, but I didn't. And so I was just this puddle, just walking into Tesco's wearing this puddle. Water had gone into my shoes as well, which is the worst. That's the worst part of having a rain, being out in the rain, is having the water go into the puddle going into your shoe, right in the top. Absolute nightmare. And then, well, I went round Tesco's. No one's going to stop me doing my shop, are they? No one's going to stop me doing my weekly shop. But then I had to go home and change because, it smelt bad. So I was really unhappy that day. Someone actually managed to annoy me. And that's why this show is car themed. So I could just complain about that. That song was If the Car Beside You Moves Ahead by James Blake. His style has been called post-dubstep. I really like this. And this is the sort of song that features on my study playlist, which I called Study My Way Back to You. And that's because sometimes when I've got a lot of work to do, I'll get sort of sad. I could be doing something else. I could be seeing friends, could be spending time doing other things, but I'm doing work. And that used to get me. But I call my playlist Study My Way Back to You, as in you just got to work through it and you'll get there. You'll get to what you need to do after when you've done your work. And that's really what that's my, I guess you could call it a message. That's what I do. So I have this whole playlist. It's mainly lo-fi. Songs like this one, actually. But all of these were released in 2020 on my playlist. So it's something I listen to, really fresh songs I've never heard before. And that sort of helps me to study. So study playlists are a thing. You should make one. But anyway, back to car. David Hasselhoff. I forgot his name was David completely. And I thought it was someone else. I thought maybe his brother had gone into music. Because I thought I didn't know his name was Michael. Michael? David. I thought his name was Michael. So who's Michael Hasselhoff? That was David Hasselhoff with Jump in My Car. I'm thinking, do I learn to drive? Because I've never driven before. I mean, I've once controlled a car, but then it stalled, and then I was like, I can't be bothered. I'm not doing this. But maybe I should. You can get places. You can go to Mackey's at any time you want. You don't have to get the train. But then again, can I be bothered? Can anyone be bothered? I mean, yeah. So this is a question that I've asked myself over the last 3 years when I've been allowed to be learning to drive. But I've also, the money that you have to put in, do I want to do that? Do I want to learn to drive? And so I've been basically using buses and trains for a long time. And as I told you last week, I'm getting quite good at trains now. I'm not actually failing trains all the time like I was before, but it could be much easier, couldn't it? So that's something I'm thinking about. The next song, I've got another song. This is a very music heavy program because, I've got a lot of work to do, okay? That was Billy Ocean. That's a good song. So yeah, learning to drive. Should I do it? I don't think I can be bothered right now. We've got the trains. I'm right next to the train station. I've got the buses if I want to get to Staines. I actually go there by train all the time anyway. I never use the buses. I used the buses that time after going to London. Oh, that was fun. I went to London and we missed the last train, didn't we? So we had to go get the tube through Piccadilly line to Heathrow, the closest to here you can get on the tube, by the way. And then we were like, okay, we'll get the bus home. Well, we didn't realise that it wasn't 4 a.m. and you can't get the bus from Heathrow until 4 a.m. So we had to get an Uber. Oh, I was going to tell a story about the bus, but I forgot we didn't get the bus. Oh, there was another time. That's happened more than once. We did get the bus. That's what I'm thinking of. But that time we didn't get the bus. You know what it's like. Your memories get mixed up. But no, one time we did. That's the story I was gonna tell. I went clubbing, and then we missed the last train. We didn't try and get it. We knew how we were gonna get home anyway. We took a bus from Piccadilly Circus, a couple of hours to Heathrow, and by that time it was 4 a.m. Because not Piccadilly Circus. What am I talking about? It was the other one, Trafalgar Square. Got the bus from Trafalgar Square to Heathrow, 2 hours or something. Then the bus from Heathrow, because then it was 4 a.m. But that was a different time to the time that I came on the Piccadilly line. Anyways, should I learn to drive? Well, I couldn't have driven in those situations anyway, because I was, in fact, not sober. So learning to drive wouldn't have helped. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know. So, what was I going to say about buses? I've talked about that. Okay. Oh, you know what I was going to say? I'm going to talk again about how much work I have to do, because the amount of deadlines I have in the next week is a lot. Not the next week, the next 2 weeks, but some of them are quite big assignments. Anyways, went into the library the other day. Someone told me there was an exam on. Okay, fine. Go into the library and I cannot find a seat anywhere. Usually, silent study, there's a large area, sort of in, I don't know what you'd call it, where the books are on the first floor. Behind there, loads of seats, and it was completely full, and I was like, what? No one ever goes in here. This room's usually completely empty. So I was just I came home really, and I had some toast, because I was like, you know what? I can't study with other people watching me. You know what it's like? I'm probably going to go to the library later today as well, because I got a lot of stuff to do. one project Wednesday, another one, I think 2 the next week after that, but one's like, they're like a lot I have to do for them. Barely started most of them. So that is really, but these scenes in the library of just the people doing work, and I'm like, can I have a seat? Is there anywhere to sit? My favourite seats were all taken. That's what I'm trying to say. There were seats, but my favourite seats were taken. And then I went home to work. And instead of working, I spent 2 hours making my playlist, because that's what you do when you're serious about when you're not serious. What am I going to say? So, as I usually do on this show, I've not got podcast recommendations this week. I was trying to formulate them, and I had a couple of shows in mind, and I couldn't piece them together in my head to make the recommendations. I think I just need to go home and sleep, to be honest. I don't think I'm going to get work done tonight. I was planning to go library after this, meet my friends, do some work together, but you know what? I think I just need to go to bed. I'm so tired. Oh, that was another thing I was planning to do tonight. There's a whole trend on TikTok where people are just live streaming them sleeping. I don't know how that started. I don't know why people are doing that now, but I just go on there and it's like, would you guess what? I'm doing a live. And you look after it, oh, indeed, they are doing a live. But like, it's like, I see why Instagram limited live streams to an hour, because this is ridiculous. TikTok, sort it out. Anyway, I queued up a crazy little thing called Love by Queen. I'm going to play that in just a second. I just need to go to bed, so I might, you know what, play the song, I'll wrap up the show, and then we'll sort out whatever comes after. See you in a sec. Perhaps to host a radio show or podcast, you do need some sleep. That's something I don't have too much, or don't feel like I've got too much of right now. I'm going to wrap the show up here, I think, and just go to bed. This show will be made into a podcast. It will come out Sunday. That'll all be cool. Apologise for such a mess of a show, but that's the way it goes with Cold Brew. I've not said this whole time. You're listening to Insanity Radio on a 3.2 FM. That was Cold Brew. Thanks for listening. I'll speak to you next week. Thank you once again for listening to Cold Brew. I'll be back next week for more, hopefully better planned and less stressy and sleepy, because that's all I am at the minute. Thank you for listening.